Still on Family and Values. My guest this morning is this beautiful lady sitting pretty by my side, Mrs. Joy Nwokoro. She's a marriage and relationship coach, American Indian Lifestyle Magazine. Now, ma'am, so good to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
If I was laughing before, I'm no longer laughing because after watching that clips, I'm sad. You know why? Because this is one issue that a lot of people are going through, and because of the kind of society that we are in, they don't know how to talk about it. The least they can do is cry, scream, shout. But it goes beyond that. I'm even getting to know that there are different types of domestic violence. It's not just the physical. It's not just the physical, but what we see every day is the physical. That man has started beating his wife again. I don't know. You are an expert in this area. Let us first of all identify with the different types of domestic violence, then we can start from there.
Okay, thank you very much, ma'am. So, domestic violence is basically the behavior that an abuser exhibits to threaten or control, the partner. So let's mark the words threaten and control.
Sure.
Yes, those two words. So when you have two people in a relationship and you have the abuser and the abusee, many times the one who is abusing the other person wants to control, bring under subjection, however, in a wrong manner, in a toxic manner. And so we've got different types of abuses. There's a psychological abuse where you have a partner, constantly tearing down the esteem, the self-esteem of the other person, talking down at the person. Yeah. Yes, exactly. Yeah. And then we have the sexual abuse. Take for instance those in marriage, for instance, where you have a partner, you're subjecting a partner to some form of sexual, tendencies in the bedroom that they don't want to.
Without consent.
Exactly.
So sex without consent in a marriage is like rape.
Yeah, tantamount to that.
Yes.
Yes. Where you're not having consent, ideally, when a man and a wife get married, there should be that consent. When things begin to go wrong and it looks as if one person is being, suppressed, or the other person is suppressing the person, that could lead to a time where the two people no longer, do what they have to do by consent. So one person gets subjected to how be it in a very toxic, in a violent manner, and all of these things can cause trauma to the one who is at the receiving end. Then we have the there could be economic violence. Not only there could be economic part of the domestic violence where one partner is deliberately hindering the other person from reaching her goals or his goals because he is economically powered. He or she is the one who has the bank, bank account being fat and all, and then because you have the wherewithal, you're deliberately and intentionally suppressing the person from meeting her goals or his goals. And there's a physical part, where you're hitting the person, you're pushing the person. All of these things make up domestic violence.
Domestic violence. So in all of this, if one is in this kind of environment, we used to be the kind of system that our four parents, I'll still be talking about them. It was communal. Everybody is everybody's keeper, as it were.
True.
So if something is happening that is not right, one uncle or auntie or even one elderly person somewhere can intercede and say, don't, It was working. But because of the disintegration of the family system right now, everything is broken, that bond is no longer there because it's glaring, it's visible. You're on your own, particularly in these times where the economy is so bad. You know, nobody wants to I have only 1 cup of gari. Oh, if these people come now, what are we going to eat? You know, so it's affecting everybody psychologically.
Yeah.
And based on that, some people are saying, I won't go to that house again, because even if I go, there's no food. You know, it might not make sense, but on the other hand, it is. So the family, that bond, caring for each other, is no longer there. But yet, we need to strive. We need to live, because life is for the living, you know, not just existing, but to live, you know. So now we're trying to revive what we lost, or what we're losing. In this situation of domestic violence that is very toxic, a lot of people have lost their lives. A lot of women have lost their lives, because the physical, I mean, the man has the physical power, but the woman probably has the spiritual power, as it were. Even men, you know, when you talk of domestic violence, the first thing that comes to mind is the women, exactly. Because it's the women that are shouting and crying. There are some men that are also going through domestic violence. You let us know, for the sake of our viewers, what are the men going through in a toxic relationship?
Okay, so domestic violence is not one-sided.
It's not.
Can never be one-sided. But many times, especially in this part of the world, Africa, we tend to project only the women. Or should we say only the women tend to want to come out and say, look at what's happening to me, I'm going through a lot. Because we are the emotive type.
Yes.
Women are emotional, but we're the ones who want to say a whole lot. You know, within a small space, you're saying a lot. And people can see and relate with what you're saying. But in the real sense of the word, we have men who are going through horror in their homes. We have women who have become violent. They are terrors. They are quote and unquote the Margaret Thatchers of this world. And you're like wondering,
useless man.
Exactly.
Shut up.
So these men are going through verbal abuse. They are also going through physical abuse. I have seen cases. Yes, I have seen cases where the woman is the one who is constantly hitting the man. Initially, the man would want to stand up to his right, and it's not as if the woman can, tear down this man if they leave them. But we have men who have this very soft temperament, and they're looking, if I touch you, you will die. Let me just leave you. And so they're absorbing all of these things, and these things, tend to tear them down. It's a build-up. It begins to like build up over time, and then the day the man explodes, he's looking as if he has killed her, he has done. Whereas these things, the woman has been tearing him down in the house little by little. They would say all sorts, provoking him, bringing him down, and the man keeps absorbing it. So men too go through all of these things.
And because men were brought up not to cry.
Exactly, men. A very wrong perspective of life. A very wrong perspective of life. So you have children.
Yes.
You're raising boys, you're raising girls, and in between you're telling the boy, maybe if the boy gets angered, you're telling him, be a man. Why are you crying? They will laugh at you.
When you go out, you are a man.
Exactly. And so this man bottles all of these things. And in some cases, apart from the fact that sometimes this man may not be able to stand up for himself in future, this can also bring out the beast in the man.
True.
You're toughening him, you're making him hardened, letting him know that when a lot of these things happen, suppress it. And so when he grows up, he becomes so hardened, and then he raises children who are also hardened. So it's a ripple effect. It causes a ripple effect.
After all, the fox cannot give birth to a dove.
Exactly.
So that's why it's all about parenting. It's all about parenting. You have girl children, boy children, and then you raise up the boys in a different way. You raise up the girls in a different way. Girl, be with me in the kitchen while the boy is playing football outside. Then you raise a man that cannot cook, but you want him to marry, and you forget that there are some cases, some days, that the woman is not feeling up to it. Either she's pregnant, or even menstrual cramps, or health-wise, and the man is looking at the woman. He's hungry. The kitchen is there. He cannot do anything. Meanwhile, the girl is 10. The boy is 2. You say, 2-year-old boy will take care of your sister. That is 10. It's also the mindset. That's why marriage is a serious business, I guess.
Yes.
It's not a joke. You're going into someone else's family. This family that you're going into, there's so many factors to coming together as a man or a woman. Do you have the capacity to absorb the challenges that will come your way? Because it's not, some guys will say, let me just marry so that my husband will take care of me. I don't know where that is coming from. Well, you've just analyzed that there are different types of domestic violence. If you went in there because of money, you know, like a counselor said, I'm a man, madam. These girls that if you go in, there's a pattern that the way men think, after all, it's my money that brought you. If you go in, you might not even see the money again. So money is also, and then if you're so emotional, everything, for the men are logical beings. Back then, you go out and make money and come in, the woman is there. But these days, it's no longer like that. The man is working because the woman has to support. And even in that support, some men still have this kind of brainwave that why should my wife earn more money? Why should my wife be going out where she, you know? So this narcissism, or I want to know, at what time should you say I'm done?
That if you find yourself in such a relationship,
yes, that is becoming unbearable with violence, verbal or physical, because it's
okay. Well, as a marriage counselor, typically when two people come for counseling, one of the things we tell them is you have to take time to learn this person. Yes, you may not know the person entirely, but there are core
before marriage.
There are core traits that could give out the person as such a person whom you want to spend the rest of your life with. You know, and if along the line there are traits you see which are the red flags.
The red flags.
Ideally, many times people see red flags and they try to analyze, and you're like turning it up and down. Should I stay? Should I go?
Maybe I can change him.
Exactly. When you see there are traits you see in a man or a woman,
yes,
that will tell you that I don't stand a chance with this person long term. So when you meet a person, we'll tell them, when you meet a person and you're like going along, you're like dating, you're like getting to know yourselves, and you find that there are traits in this person that just might not be able to favor you in future, which are deal breakers. There are deal breakers, there are deal makers. So your deal breakers are those things you cannot manage, you shouldn't patch at all. So many times these women, or even the men, go into these relationships and they see these deal breakers and they think, let us begin to do patch with it. It's like having to like place, when you have a cloth that is torn, you know, you have like, when you patch it, there's a way the tailor might not neatly patch this thing, and to be glaring to everybody that just patched your clothes now patch, you know. So they try to patch these things, and I love the way they are patching. They go into marriage and then they face toxic lifestyle in marriage that wants to break them. Many times when women go into marriage, or men go into marriage, where you have found out that your partner over time has become toxic. We are not saying, many times when you tell these victims, many times they'll tell you, I don't want to be a divorcee. No one is saying, we're not saying be a divorcee, but if it is life threatening, ideally you want to give a break. Let's see if there are ways these things can be patched. Whether there are learnings to be got, you know, you have to like learn, unlearn, and relearn. Let's see if the abuser can learn, unlearn, and relearn, and see if really he wants to do this long term. But so you staying there, and whilst he or she, I don't want to focus on the men alone, because we have women who are so toxic too. Of course. You know, so until when he or she says, okay, I want to learn, I want to relearn, let's see if we stand a chance together, or I am not capable of helping myself. Sometimes this victim, the abuser, needs help.
Of course,
they need help. So they need to like turn themselves in or subject themselves to some sort of learnings, some sort of counseling and coaching, therapy. That's the word, you know, therapy, to see if these things they are making their partners go through, you know, can be resolved.
Everyone needs help.
Yeah.
Everyone needs help. That is the truth. But you see, of course, in Europe it's different. This is black man mentality. This is Nigeria, where, you know, don't let people know. Don't just with time, you know, everything will be all right. Life is not like that. The family from the wife is talking, the family from the man is talking, you know. After all, look at me and your wife, me and your father, we've been married for 40 years. You just got married. You people are so impatient. That is there. Now you talk of counseling. These are the days we have professionals like you, be it in church or outside church. Those days, there were no professional counselors. The counseling was within, because it was communal. You know, it was within. Okay. So now, you find yourself in this kind of situation. You just said, some of your clients will say, I don't want to be a divorcee. And you are seeing the red flags. You don't want to be a divorcee. So then some people say, if I had not married at that time, I wouldn't marry again. About 50 or 60% of those people making those, they have divorced. Divorce is on the increase, you know, but we are not encouraging that. We want to revive. We want to bring back, you know, a system where, like you said, learning and relearning men are naturally egoistic. That's the way they were wired, because, you know, how can you, a man? Well, a man who knows that he needs help, if he knows that he needs help, what is so difficult for him trying to get help? Take, for instance, the issue of fruit of the womb. In many cases, everybody is blaming the woman that she cannot get pregnant because of one thing. It could even be the man's fault. Because if the woman now says, okay, let's go for, there's something about a man, you know you need help. What is wrong with seeking help? Is the society part of our problems? You know, I am confused about some things. As a man and a woman, the planning starts from the beginning. You dated. From dating you went into courtship. You know, I guess that's where the lies, you know, whatever, you know, for a man is by sight, for the woman is by hearing. So when you are listening to all sorts of things that are not true, or you saw something beautiful and you think it's going to be forever, you know, just one child alone, the body changes, you know. And you are talking about 2, 3, 4 children. Please, ma'am, at what point should a man accept that he has a fault, that it's with him to seek help? And what role is the church playing? I don't want to bring church into it, but a lot of people are in church today for one reason or the other, you know. And I know that a lot of counselors are from the church, you know, because you use the word of God and all that, because God first. So even within the church, you'll be amazed, a lot of marriages that were made in church, they have broken.
Absolutely.
So,
okay, so let's go back. You know, I said something initially.
yes,
I talked about many of these things having a ripple effect, being generational. So when we have men, when we have parents, or we have fathers who deliberately or intentionally raise boys who will be teachable in future, letting them know that irrespective of the fact that you'll be the head of the home, you've got to be teachable. No man is an island. There'll come a time in life where, you know, when you take a stock of your life and you see that things aren't going the way they ought to be, then it means you have to seek for help. How do you seek for help? There are different ways. You know, besides reading books, you know, you could have a mentor. You could go in for therapy. All of these things make up you trying to work on yourself. So when we have fathers, you know, who would go back to the basics. So when we say we have men today who are toxic, it's likely I'm not saying
from
some
their
men may not have
background.
picked, yeah, it's likely from the background.
Yes.
But however, I'm not saying there aren't men who maybe over time may have drifted from the background.
Exactly.
Because
That
Bible
also
says,
is there.
train up a child in the way they should go. When they go, they won't forget.
Yes.
Do you understand?
Yes, I
yeah.
do.
So, however, there could be some association. You know, youthful exuberance that
Yes,
would have
yes.
caused that. Okay,
Yes, yes.
you drifted away from what you were raised
Yes,
with.
that one is
As
there.
a man.
It's there.
But ideally, it is the role of the family unit system. How be it the father? Yes, the mother has a role to play. You know, how be it the father sitting his son down and letting him know that in life you can't have it all. In terms of, you know, ego, some men, I have heard of men who would deliberately pump into their men. Don't agree for her, you are the man. If need be, suppress her, put her under your armpit. You know, she's just, you know, and then and over time, the translation of the Bible, when I mean translation, the context, you know, through which people read the Bible may have been watered down. When you hear she's a weaker vessel, you know, you're thinking, okay, because she's weak on the outside, in every area she has to be weak. In the kitchen, she has to be in the kitchen. She has to do this. She's the weaker one. I am the one on top. So many times these things over time, the kind of notions that may have been handed down from generation to generation,
like what I say,
could be faulty.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Mrs. Woko, what you hear, when you keep hearing the wrong things, over time it becomes like right. Okay. I've always known that there is that factor of wrong association. You know, what you go, the people you are, the circles, you know, the company you keep and all that. You see a man loving his wife, pampering his wife, taking care of his wife, you know, all of a sudden he stops because see that out there. Maybe they have put something in his food. Though. You begin to hear these words, you know, and again, boys' nights out, you know, those kind of places where they meet, the boys' club at the boys' night out, where they go and begin to talk gibberish. A home that has been founded, like you said, you know, along the line they drift from the teachings, you know. So learning and relearning. So he comes back, he changes, or the woman who has been so humble, who has been so submissive, because she's been brought up that whatever it is, your husband is your husband. Sit and talk. Talk at the right time. A man just comes back from work. So what are we going to do about juniors' school fees? We'll take a break. When our Zoom guest is Pastor Martha Udegbe, marriage relationship coach, live from Lagos. Good morning, ma'am. Pastor Udegbe, good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing today?
Yeah. You know, where we talk about the family and what it takes to make a good family, you know, with the situation that is happening around us right now, what it was yesterday, what it is today, and what will tomorrow be if we don't revive, you know, the values within the family. You know, family is a structure. What you raise is what goes into the larger society. It's becoming alarming and traumatic for a lot of parents, yeah? The topic on ground is domestic violence. What's your take on it?
A lot is really happening. My take on this is I think there's so much pressure in the society now, and a lot of people are under serious pressure. Once across, whether you're a pastor, you're a minister, you're whatever you are, there's a lot of pressure in the land, and people are taking on this frustration on the closest person to them. So sometimes, even if you say, is the person well brought up or not well brought up, I don't think it's really about even your upbringing. It's about the pressure. A lot of people are under pressure. A lot of people are angry, and the only thing they can do is just put that pressure, that frustration on either their partner, their wife, or their children. So a lot is happening. A lot. So you hear women complaining every day of this issue of domestic violence. And I tell you, if the society, we don't look into this thing, is going to, our marriages I don't know whether in another 20, 30 years, marriages will stand. So I don't know. That's my take on it. I think frustration, finance, lack of food, poverty, so many things are happening, and it's really affecting our marriages.
They will take it. You know, the closest person. You know, they'll transfer aggression. And who is the closest person? The spouse. You know, yes, you made a point.
Yes.
It's not always about upbringing. Like my guest here said, sometimes they deviate from the proper home training.
Exactly.
You know, they deviate because of different factors. We're looking at a man who was doing well, you know, in his area of calling. All of a sudden, he loses his job. He comes back home, you know, maybe first week or two, but it's like it's no longer going to be the same. Or the woman who was healthy, you know, vibrant, making things happen within the home, all of a sudden there's also the health factor. You know, she's no longer very strong, so she can no longer do the things that she used to do. And then the man is wondering, how can he cope with this woman that is losing her health and all? So many factors. Within this, you know, there will be signs, right? The red flags, there would be signs. Obviously, there would be signs. So what is your advice, you know, as a pastor and as a marriage counselor, when these signs, ugly signs, begin to rear their heads? What do? You know, like she said, when it gets to a stage of life or death, the right thing to do is shift, give space. Nobody's going to tell you divorce your spouse, but you know what you're going through. It's so toxic, overbearingly toxic. Ma'am, please tell us, as a pastor.
For a woman, when you see the signs, I will advise, be quiet. Be quiet. If I say pray now, people say, pray, I've been praying, it's not working, I've been praying. But the truth is that you must keep praying. You must keep praying. And pray, I'm not saying you should go on a mountain, even in your closet, wherever you find yourself, and let's talk. Women, we talk too much. Excuse me. Women, we talk too much. So I want to advise, let's talk. Please, let's talk. When you see your partner, your husband is under pressure, don't talk. Even when he talks to you, don't talk. If he's coming to you in an aggressive manner, please, as much as you can, just be calm. Talk to him lovingly. And if you feel if you talk it will cause problem, shift. And I want to advise women out there, please look for something to do. All women, look for something to do. Look for something to do, because many marriages are going to divorce. As a woman, you must look for something to do. You don't stay idle, because if you stay idle and you're having emotional challenges in your home, your husband is beating you, the frustration will go deeper. Depression will come on you so much that you start even hating on your children. You start hating the husband. So look for something that will take you out of the house. For me, I'm a pastor, so I will advise, join fellowship, join relationship groups, join groups that can help you. Have good friends around you that you can talk to. And when it gets to the point that the man is beating you every day, please shift though. Because if he beats you and you die, that's the end. The highest they will do, they'll just jail you. And after some years, you will come back. But don't lose your life because of domestic violence. If it's not working and or he's beating you so much, please run away to your parents or to any godly family that you respect. But don't stay quiet. Please don't stay quiet. Many women are quiet because they are ashamed. They think that they tell people that they're having issues in their own, people will laugh at them. No, don't stay quiet. Look for something to do. In the place of prayer, pray for your husband, pray for your children, pray for your home. And also pray for others. Because when you pray for others, the thing will drop on you on your own too. So please, the times are challenging, seriously. And as I'm talking to you now, I was telling if I tell you where I am now, you'll be shocked. Times are challenging. So because of the times, a lot of people are aggressive. So look for ways that you make your environment good for yourself and good for others. Please. Even for the men out there, please, I beg you, if you have challenges and you're going through emotions, stop beating your wife. Don't use her as a punching bag. Don't use her as a punching bag.
Oh, no, let me just come in briefly, ma'am. So sorry. Now, you said in that toxic environment, the woman shouldn't talk. Yes, there's a time to talk, there's a time to keep quiet. I can relate. But also, we are talking about communication, the power of communication. You know that something is wrong with this man. Is there no time for you to make available or for you to create an environment for communication? So you shouldn't talk. Then you can talk to, who do you talk to? We are talking about times where there's no more friendship. You know, a lot of things have gone wrong. See, like you started by saying that these times are so perilous, they are so dangerous. Who are you even talking to? Maybe you are talking to the wrong person, you wouldn't know. You're talking to the wrong person, you wouldn't know. Yeah. So still in this toxic situation, you did say that finally, if it gets beyond you, you leave. See, the point we're trying to make is there are different levels of this domestic violence. You know, there are different levels. A lot of women have gone. A lot of women are in psychiatric homes. You know, and the thing is rising per second. Even the marriages that were made in church, built on the doctrines, on the teachings of Christ, those marriages too are breaking. So, and
this is even those church marriages that have more problems. Those marriages that were done in church, like the marriages that have more problem. Surprisingly,
ironically, you see, ma'am, you see what I'm saying? One would have thought that those marriages would have been exemplary. You know, see, I witnessed a marriage between a Muslim and a Christian couple. Yeah, at that time in my former neighborhood, 20 years and still counting. The woman is Muslim, the man is Christian. They had 4 children, 2 boys and 2 girls. Muslim Christian marriage. Meanwhile, the ones in this, yes, yeah. So this is
you see the problem with Christianity now. And the pastor will tell you the truth. Most of us pretend too much. There's so much pretense. There's so much pretense. People are pretending. People are pretending. We need to come out. We need to be plain. And unfortunately, the church is not even helping matters. The church is not helping matters. Do you know husbands and wives? Many husbands and wives in church on Sundays, they don't even talk to each other. They don't talk to each other. They come out and give people the impression that everything is okay. Nothing is okay. And the issue of communication, why I say keep quiet is most people, especially men, when they are angry and you talk back at them, they want to injure you. You know? So, as a woman, the Bible says in Proverbs 14, it says the wise woman builds a home. You see, when it comes to communication, you must be wise. You must know when to and when not to talk. You must know the counsel you must give and the counsel, because there's some men you tell them to do, they'll say, who are you? Do you know I am the head? Do you know I'm the man? So you must know when to come in. That's why I encourage women, have something to do and be a woman. Be a woman in quotes. Being a woman takes a lot. A woman, you're a mother, you're a wife, you're a nurse, you're a teacher, you are everything. So you must own yourself. own yourself. Your emotional intelligence must be top notch at all times. And no matter how perfect you give this thing, there's no situation that is perfect. There's sometimes that you flip. But let your flipping be less than, than your act of keeping quiet. You see, you need to even balance the two. It must be balanced.
That's just it.
It must be balanced.
This question is very important. I'm going to ask you this question.
Yes.
Why do victims sometimes return or stay with the abusive partner? Just briefly, because we're about to round up. They have left. Why they come back?
But like I said, the reason why many women return is because of finances. If a woman has money, she has her own thing, I'm telling you, she will not return. The fear of the unknown. If I live in, what will happen to me? What will happen to my children? Finance, the fear of the unknown, and what society will say. That's why many people return. What will the church say? I mean, the church doesn't know that the man is killing you in the house. And we have preachings of new pastors these days. The pastor will even be supporting the men. I've heard a preach where the pastor was supporting the men. He said, why men beat women?
Well, thank you, madam. Thank you so much. Unfortunately, time is not on our side. We will continue this topic because it's so vast.
We will continue, but
of course, definitely. I would love to see you again. Thank you so much. God
bless you. I would love to see you. Yes. We need to really talk about this.
Of course, why not? We will not sweep it under the carpet. God bless you. Thank you. Good morning.
God bless you.
Back to you. God bless you too. Unfortunately, we're going to have to round up. But you've spoken so much already. Let the wise hear. Okay? Let the wise hear. In any situation you find yourself, you can use your tongue, because that's where the power is to turn it around for your favor. That's just the truth. So, my guest on site is this beautiful, lovely, young but Joy Mokoro, marriage relationship coach, American Indian Lifestyle Magazine, and my Zoom guest is Pastor Martha Odegbe. I hope you've had a wonderful time with us. We're talking about family and values. We'll continue next week. Thank you.